We're continuing on with the stars, and I hope you're enjoying it as you're getting closer to Christmas and you're putting stars on top of your tree or whatever you're doing. But think and focus and think about these things that we're learning about stars. This devotional today is called They Sing. I love the book of Job, and stars are mentioned several times among the chapters. This guy who lost it all, endured the hardest of hardships, mentions the stars, so we need to see why. First of all, in chapter 3, after Job's horrendous loss of life, possessions, and health, he curses his birth. He even wonders why he was born, and he talks a lot about darkness and blackness. This is what he says: "May its morning stars become dark, may it wait for daylight in vain, and not see the first rays of dawn, for it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes." So Job is wondering why he was even born, and wonders why light and hope was given to him and then dashed. Have you ever wondered that? In a couple of chapters after this, Job's friends start pointing to the stars and mentioning them. They remind Job that God established the heavens, and then one says if stars are not pure in his eyes, then humans are just worms or maggots. That's really encouraging, isn't it? But it isn't until God speaks about the stars to Job that Job sits up and listens, and that's found in the beginning of chapter 38. God asked Job this question: "Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? Or what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy." Of all the talk and wondering and the trying to figure out what was wrong with Job, that he had such hardship and amounted to nothing, and all the words Job had listened to and all the thoughts he had thought had obscured God and were words without knowledge. God tells Job to buck up like a man and listen to God's questions, and then he asks Job if he was present when God set forth the earth in motion. He asks Job to answer with understanding, if he can, the dimensions God set forth. Surely he must know, because he's determined that he should have never been born and that the stars should have never come out when he was born. An affront to the creative power of God and the formation of every human before we are born. He asked Job if he knows what holds the earth, its footings, or who laid the cornerstone, the beginnings of the earth, while the morning stars sang together and the angels shouted for joy. He reminds Job that creation worships God and creation is appointed by God, and there is joy and music when creation responds in harmony to its creator, because that's why they were created after all. Even stars sing and angels shout for joy. I love this commentary from Matthew Henry. For the humbling of Job, God here shows him his ignorance, even concerning the earth and the sea. As we cannot find fault with God's work, we need not fear concerning it. The works of his providence, as well as the works of creation, can never be broken, and the work of redemption is no less firm, of which Christ himself is the foundation and the cornerstone. The church stands as firm as the earth. So let's see what we learn from this. Once we start finding fault with God and his ways, for example, Job saying that he should never have been born and the stars should have gone dark, we need to stop. We cannot and will not find fault with the movement of God's hand across the deep when he creates and speaks. The works of his hands were set in motion and will continue to be there and can never be broken, including the work that he's begun in us, no matter what darkness falls. Even in the valley of the shadow of death, he leads us, from Psalm 23. There's great danger when we start declaring that God is messed up in some way in our lives, especially into calling us into being. From there, all sorts of woes emerge, and pretty soon God and his authority and power and reign in our lives has taken second place to our understanding and our summation of all the circumstances around us. God reminds Job that all of creation bows to his power and glory. The stars cannot go dark. God will not rescind or be sorry for what he created, and Job was created for a purpose, and that purpose would stand. God then spends a lot of words and chapters asking Job if he's able to understand, create, form, command, and loose. And he mentions Orion's belt. He mentions so many things in creation and all their characteristics. He asks Job if he can adorn himself with glory and splendor like the stars. My gosh, the imagery is so strong in these last words. Job does listen, and he responds, and he repents of ever starting on that path of wondering why in the world he was born and wishing that he could make the stars go dark. He tells God, I know you can do all things and no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Anytime we think we know or can hatch a plan better than God's, we might do well to read the end of the book of Job. God alone can do things, and what he sets in motion in the skies and on the earth cannot be stopped or thwarted. Thwarted means to oppose or stop successfully. Job realizes that his understanding was limited, and he spoke out of that limited understanding. But there were things too wonderful for him to know, and he now hears and sees what God is saying, and he repents. Wow, the stars sang.